Next, the United Nations is warning that more than 2 million people in Myanmar's war-ravaged Rakhine state could be facing imminent starvation. That's according to a new report put out by the UN, which also accuses the military of imposing collective punishment on Rakhine state by blocking trade routes. The number of internally displaced people in Rakhine, which borders Bangladesh to the west, has risen by more than 60% from October 2023 to August this year, with more than 500,000 people now relying entirely on aid. Well, let's get more on this and speak to Kanni Wignaraja, who wrote the report. She's the UN's Assistant Secretary General and the UNDP's Asia Regional Director. Thanks so much for joining us on the programme, Kanni. We really appreciate your time. I would love for you to just lay out for us, first of all, how urgent the humanitarian needs are in Rakhine State at the moment.
Well, the biggest issue here is that we've not seen this level of escalation of conflict in Rakhine at such an intense, ongoing level for so long. And it's causing a blockade of near total cessation of trade, both externally and through internal borders. And I think that, together with the fact that mobile communications, internet suspension, has just stopped a lot of basic services and food and meds coming in. With the displacement of so many people, people are not farming the lands. And when you miss a couple of these cycles, we're seeing a breadbasket that was Rakhine for rice, now down to about 20% of rice production. If you project these, for UNDP, the issue is the threat to all aspects of human development. We've not seen this level of depth of poverty in the country at a sustained level. So it is a very, very concerning situation going on there.
And in this report, as you mentioned there, you've accused the military junta of using hunger as a weapon by blocking vital aid for food, in terms of food. What are the difficulties in addressing humanitarian needs and delivering aid to those areas that need it the most?
I think the issue here is all parties to the conflict are seeing that their actions are falling harshly on the civilian population of Rakhine. So this is something that all of them, which is why we've been saying that without a negotiated settlement to stop the conflict, what has happened is a legal economy in Rakhine that actually served its people has now turned into a illegal economy, which is the only place there really is cash flowing in the hands of people. So if you've come to a stage where you're seeing among the displaced in IDP camps, 30% of children who are stunted, that's a UNICEF figure, acute malnutrition at over 30%. If you look at also what WFP and others are projecting, we pulled all of this together to look at the fact that people are surviving on a meal a day, if that. And sometimes with, I think, the income levels are now down to about 22 cents a day. And that is not enough even for a meal of rice. So people are now turning to rice bran. They're selling their assets, very little cash in the system, and very difficult for aid workers, whether from the UN, from NGOs, other international and regional support, to come in to Rakhine. We can only really get to Sitwe at this time, and that's not enough.
Let's focus on just the direct impact of the conflict on the situation in Rakhine State. Since the collapse of the ceasefire deal, as you spoke about, between the Arakan army and the military in November, a major new front in Myanmar's civil war has opened up now. How is that impacting the displacement camps?
Well, that has just increased the numbers. You can see we've heard from the Bangladesh side that there's a number of refugees moving across the border again, and more folks coming into these camps, but we can't access them the way we could before. And you're also seeing now probably the to our UNODC colleagues, this is now the center of opium production in the world. So with all of this, you're seeing organized crime take over. So human trafficking is spiking, drug and arms trafficking, and this is really, at the end of the day, hurting the civilian population. This is meaning that of the 3 million in Rakhine, you're going to see 2/3 of them really facing not only an imminent famine in the early part of next year, but a huge loss of life, of livelihoods, of homes, and no place to go, which then gets them moving into very perilous journeys across land and sea borders.
It's quite a dire situation, it sounds like. Kanni, thank you so much for joining us on the programme. Really appreciate getting your thoughts and finding out more about this report that really presents a very stark warning. Thank you so much for that. That's Kanni Wignaraja, who wrote that report. She's the UN's Assistant Secretary General and the UNDP Asia Regional Director. Well, let's move on. Ramban's